Welcome to Hatman Strikes Back Daily Boxing News. Teremoana, otherwise known as Teremoana Jr., signed to Eddie Hearn recently. He's had a couple of fights under him now. 6'6", former Olympian. He lost to Bakadir Jalilov in the most recent Olympics on points. I didn't realize the year before he'd actually lost to Jalilov as well, but got stopped because I was impressed by Teremoana's ability to take Jalilov's power when they fought last time. But apparently the time before, he wasn't able to take Jalilov's power so well, unless he got stopped on cuts or stopped in his feet. I haven't seen their first fight. I only saw their more recent fight. But yeah, he was stopped by Jalilov in 2023. So you have to bear that in mind. Now, Teremoana is 27 years of age. This was his last opponent, James Singh. Now, obviously, this is very early on in Teremoana Jr.'s career, embryonic stages, but the guy is 27 years old. So if he was 22, then you'd say, okay, whatever, he's fighting pies. This is the normal procedure that you take a young fighter through, where you're building his confidence, you're getting him used to fighting in front of big crowds, you're getting him used to fighting on maybe big shows, way down on the undercard, etc., etc. He needs to be comfortable in that type of environment before you step him up. That's the idea. But being 27 years of age, 7 fights in, they don't have the time that they would have with a 22-year-old. And Teremoana is not somebody that is inexperienced. He's not a Fabio Wardley coming from basically a non-existent amateur background. Fabio Wardley had a few white collar bouts. That's it. No, Teremoana had an extensive amateur background. And as I say, fought in the Olympics, fought Bakadir Jalilov at least twice. So when you combine that with his age, this is a guy that you're going to have to start moving quite quickly. You don't want to end up with another Joe Joyce, because Joyce probably spent his best years in the amateurs and maybe the tail end of his best years when he just turned pro. The guy's never fought for a world title, Joe Joyce. Okay, so you don't want a repeat of that with Teremoana. So you're going to have to get a move on, particularly with the way he fights. He's very aggressive. He's high energy. That's a young man's style. If he was a more technical boxer, maybe you'd take your time with him a bit more, right? But a guy who's this aggressive, who fights high energy, especially for a big man, 6'6", you're going to need to capitalize on the energy levels he has right now at the age of 27 by getting him in there and fighting for a world title by the time he's 30 at the latest. Do you know what I mean? Probably by the time he's 29 would be a better idea if you can maneuver him into that position. So I say that to say that opponents like James Singh are really not helping his cause. Again, I understand it's very early on in his career, and you would normally give a fighter who's 6-0, 7-0 these type of opponents. But in this instance, Teremoana has the experience to be moved faster, and he's too old not to be moved faster, in my opinion. So I saw Eddie Hearn talk after the fight about how they're going to need to step him up. Well, yeah, they're seriously going to need to step him up beyond the level of a James Singh. I mean, the fight was an absolute farce. Not sure how many of you guys saw it, but it wasn't the least bit competitive. I mean, James Singh did land a couple right hands, but there was nothing on them. Teremoana is very keen to go looking for the knockout, and he did walk onto a couple, but yeah, nothing bothered him. There didn't appear to be an enormous amount of power behind those shots. So let me know what you guys think about Teremoana and how you think his career is being moved so far. Maybe give some suggestions for opponents. I'm not saying they need to step him up for world titles next, obviously. What I'm saying is they're going to need to give him some more durable opponents than this. And there are plenty of durable guys out there. James Singh obviously was not. So Eddie Hearn needs to do better in the coming fights with Teremoana in terms of matchmaking.